for being here, everybody. Start with a statement, coach, and we'll take questions.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming out. Really proud of our guys tonight. That was a good win. It's well documented. Last week was a big week of practice for us to kind of get our reignite, restart, whatever our defensive habits and the way we're playing and discipline and all those things. And thought we made progress on Saturday, and thought we made more progress tonight. This was a team that had been playing very well, a younger team. They got some good transfers. They play hard. They're physical, really well coached. I knew this was going to be a tough challenge. They played Marquette to an overtime game, I think, about a week ago up in Milwaukee. So this was a confident team. We knew we were going to have to defend well and be locked in and be disciplined. And you saw, like, when we had little miscues or miscommunications, they made us pay. And so for the most part, we were really locked in on that end of the floor. And then, just to see 17 assists and 7 turnovers, that's more Northwestern like. That's kind of, who we've been. A team that shares the ball, team that, moves it, that takes care of the ball. We had a really nice stretch there in the second half to push the lead. And then there's some good learning experience. We got up 24 there with 12 minutes to go and kind of let our foot off the gas pedal a little bit with our habits. Took some bad shots, had a couple bad turnovers, had a couple miscue, and all of a sudden it's a 13-point game, and you're feeling real game pressure. And, I thought AP and Nick were awesome tonight, 47 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists. Really pleased with Trey Singleton. We've been really kind of waiting for him to have a breakout game. Today, he made some big plays, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Thought he made his impact felt out there tonight. And again, I thought Justin Mullins, he's been playing well for us. And, I just couldn't take him off the floor. I thought his defense and energy, he had a huge steal and dunk late to kind of ice the game. So, proud of the guys. This was a good win and really sets up a high-level game for us on Saturday that I know our guys are going to be excited about playing.
Other questions, Matt?
Coach, Nick kind of took over the start of the second half. I think at the start of both halves he had 8 points within the first 4 minutes each time. How have you seen his feel for the game improve each year?
Yeah, I just think the more you play and as you get experience, you're poised and kind of seeing what the defense is doing. We found an action that was really working for us there to start the second half. I think we scored maybe 4 or 5 times in a row there. And he made some great reads. He curled the screen, had a couple post-ups, and he saw they were cheating it, and then he bumped back and hit a 3. So he's just really matured with making reads, with understanding how he's being guarded, how to still get to his spots. And I think it really helps, too, him playing with AP. Just having another guy down there that commands a lot of attention. He's played with other really good guards, but Matt was more of a lob threat and kind of a dump off guy, but now playing with a guy like AP that can score in the post, that can make a shot, that can drive from the high post, I think it's really helped Nick have a little bit more space to operate as well.
Right.
Coach, you mentioned not being able to take Justin Mullins off the floor. The closing lineup was 4 starters with Justin. What have you seen from him that gives you the confidence?
Yeah, he's being a vet. I thought his energy was great. Justin's important because you play these teams that have those athletic, 6'5" to 6'8" type of guys that we need Justin to really be able to guard and match up with. He's doing a really good job getting out on the break, and he had some really good finishes in transition. He's confident. I'm confident. He had the 1-3 he took. I loved. It was a corner 3. It was a good shot. He's just really playing like a senior, and I'm proud of him. And we have a lot of guys that I'm comfortable with, and tonight kind of was his night where I just felt really comfortable with how he was playing, and it was a game we needed to win, and so we just kind of rode his minutes there, especially in the second half.
Coach, after the Ohio State loss, you also talked about how, some of those losses can shake a team's confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you feeling in terms of those levels after these 2 games?
Yeah, winning is huge. It was really important, these 2 games. There's no question. You lose 3 in a row, 4 out of 5. Even though 3 of those 4 losses were 1-possession games, you still feel the sting of losing. And, guys get, beaten down. They hear about it. We try to tell them to stay off, social media and seeing it, but they're kids, so they know. So, when you have a little stretch where it's not going well, it's important to find winning again. And I also wanted them to be rewarded for practicing well. We've practiced better than we've practiced probably all year long. We're doing basic stuff. Our guys are embracing it. They're doing it, with a purpose. And you want as a coach to see guys being rewarded. So it was good that we came out and kind of executed some of the things we've been practicing, and get some confidence. I mean, we were just with Butler down in West Virginia. We saw they're a really good team. I mean, they beat Virginia. They beat South Carolina. So it's going to be right in their backyard there. You have to be super confident going into Saturday, and to do that, we needed to play well and win. And especially tonight, I thought it wasn't just winning. We played well. We had a few stretches there where they got into the lead, but overall, this was a really good performance for us, and I know guys feel good about it.
You talked about the reset from last week to this week and getting these two confidence games under you. What's next after getting confidence and moving forward? When you want
winning a big game, and I just talked about with our guys, like we're going to break for Christmas after the game Saturday, and it's a great event. That's why we wanted to be a part of it. I mean, the Pacers arena is great. Purdue's going to be in there. They have a high level game. You have Butler in there. We're coming in. I told the guys it's going to have kind of a tournament like feel. With two games on a Saturday afternoon. The fans in the state of Indiana are second to none. I mean, it's awesome anytime you go there. People are passionate about basketball, the energy. So I told these guys we'll get a little bit of rest. We'll get off our feet tomorrow, get some treatment, take care of our bodies, and then we got a couple days to really lock in. I want them to approach the game kind of as if it was a tournament type game, because it's important when you're trying to build your resume. We had a good win at DePaul. We beat South Carolina, but the Oklahoma State and Virginia games sting because we were right there and kind of let both of them. So we had leads in the second half in both of those games. So we need to come out and play well, and hopefully give ourselves a chance to win a high level game Saturday afternoon.
You talked about Justin a little bit. You had 27 minutes tonight. Previous 5 games went 8 minutes, 2, 4, 4, 18. I know, you obviously have said that it just kind of depends on the game flow. But, for him, somebody who's been in your system for a long time, how do you just kind of, emphasize to him, staying ready and staying prepared?
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great attitude. And listen, I talk to all these guys. We got a bunch of guys that are good enough to play, and there's guys that didn't play tonight that are good enough to play, but decisions have to be made. And I felt like kind of before these last couple games, and it's not always fair to the players, like coming into the game, it's like we're just trying to see who's playing. And a lot of times if you throw a guy in, it's hard if you play 2 minutes or you play 4 minutes. It's much easier if you can get consistent minutes. You kind of know when you're going in. So, we made a decision to kind of shorten our rotation a little bit. Obviously bring Trey off the bench to kind of do the front line subbing to help with that. So those were all intentional. And, I think Justin, there's just a comfort level there with him. He's a senior. He's been a part of a lot of wins. He's been here now for 3 years. He understands what this program is about, and I trust him. We're in a tough time right now. We lost 4 out of 5, right? So you're going to lean on guys that have been in the foxhole with you and have helped you win games, and he's one of those guys.
More questions, Matt?
Coach, KJ played 22 minutes versus Ohio State, now 1 minute versus Jackson State, didn't play today. You mentioned that week of practice. Did something change there?
No, decisions have to be made on rotations. Like, that's what I'm just saying. I wanted to get more into a steady rotation. It's nothing he did and kind of the way the game is going, but I've liked the way that Max has played. I've liked what Justin has brought. Angelo's played well. Jordan Clayton has a steadying influence on a steadying hand out there, and KJ just has to be ready, and I get it. And I believe in him and we believe in him. But right now, we're trying to win, and not that he can't, but we just felt like, the best thing for us to do was kind of give some guys more consistent minutes, to give them a little bit more of a flow. Like when you're trying to play 11 guys, it's harder. It's hard for everybody. It's hard for him. It's hard for all the other guys in that mix. So, these last 2 games, is it set in stone? Absolutely not. I mean, Jordan Clayton didn't play the first 20 games last year, and then he started the last 11. So I just want KJ to keep a good attitude. I get it. It's okay for him to be angry about it. I tell guys all the time, it's okay to be mad about not playing. Just channel it the right way. Come to practice, have a great attitude, and when you're called upon, be ready. And if you play well, I want to win. So if you come in and do a good job, you're going to play. So he's just got to stay ready.
Good luck here.
Coach,
you started the game 10 for 13, and then in the second half stretches from Nick going 3 shots in a row, AP 4 shots in a row.
Yeah.
How do you feel like those like hot streaks are important in this game?
Well, I mean, that's the strength of our team is those two guys. I mean, our ability to get the ball into the paint with those two has been a real strength of ours this whole year. And, so we want to continue to do that and then have guys play off of them. A number of teams, they didn't really double team tonight. So it allowed those guys to go for big numbers. A game like Ohio State, they were getting double teamed every time they got it. We've seen doubles in other games. Nick has been doubled consistently, but now AP's commanding doubles. So, that's where some of these other guys now are going to be playing off, are going to get open shots, cuts to the basket, things of that nature. But, the basis of what we do is to play through those two guys. I mean, they're playing at a really high level, and they cause a lot of attention, and they draw fouls. And that's what helps. They draw fouls, so they get you into the penalty. So now other fouls out on the floor, now you're going to the free throw line.
One more question, back.
Coach, you mentioned earlier about the defense kind of resetting against Jackson State. Today, you see a little bit more progress on the defense end. Where do you still need to get to?
Yeah, I think the offensive rebounding. I think they had 10 there, and in that little spurt, we didn't clean up a missed free throw, which led to a 3. They had a couple tip-ins there. That's still 10 offensive rebounds, too much. But I thought in terms of keeping the ball out of the paint, and also putting our bodies on guys when they did get into the paint. We were just much too soft. I mean, you give up 62 points in the paint against, so you're not going to beat anybody playing like that. So I think we're being more physical and playing without fouling, using our bodies. We call it walling up down there. We had some good traps when they drove baseline and got in there. So I saw real progress. And, it's a work, though. I mean, we got to keep at it. We got to keep practicing. We got to keep getting better. We still have a lot of new guys that are figuring things out. But these were good 2 games for us to get some confidence and feel good about how we're playing.
Yeah, that wraps up the coach.
All right, thank you guys. See ya. Have a good one.
Everyone over here, AP and Nick, are any questions? Both these guys. A lot.
Coach was talking about how you guys didn't really get doubled tonight. How do you feel like that changed your game plan going in? Or just like on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, he told us they hadn't really doubled in the rest of their games, so yeah, they did a great job scouting, and they told us, so we knew, and the other guys were creating a ton of space for us, so yeah, it definitely helped knowing that before the game.
Nick, after the Ohio State game, you came here and you said that the one thing that's keeping the team from winning right now is defense. In the 2 games since, how would you evaluate the defensive performance?
Yeah, I think it's been a lot better. Yeah, I mean, our approach, and then also just at the end of games, the last, obviously 8 minutes here, we were pretty locked in, pretty solid. And yeah, that's what we're going to need for, how big 10 games go, even for us last year, losing by this much a couple times and you're out of the tournament. So I think we've done a much better job.
Just to follow up on that, when you guys in practice last week and you went into the lab to try and fix the defense, was it schematic fixes? Was it technique stuff? Was it effort based? Like what were the main goals?
Well,
Effort.
Yeah, for sure, effort. We tell them about that.
No. It's a lot of work. Yeah.
We put in a lot of work. I'll just leave it at that.
But there's a lot more work to be done. It's not a finished product at all. And we need to, do double, triple that if we really want to get to the places we need to go.
To left.
AP, you had the scoring runs during the second half. How comfortable do you like holding the ball outside the perimeter to like do the drive?
You mean hold the ball outside the paint? I'm pretty comfortable with that. When I feel like I have a slow-footed defender, I feel like I'm pretty good with creating an advantage offensively when it comes to that. So.
I think we talked to the coach after the game. He said Saturday's going to be a big one in Indianapolis against Butler. He said it's going to have a tournament feel. So as a guy that's played in the tournament, how do you convey a tournament feel to some of the younger guys that haven't, maybe other transfers that haven't been in that stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it starts with practice. I think you have to have a tournament urgency in practice and your drills, and what we do on Thursday and Friday is what we're going to do on Saturday. So, yeah, definitely, coming to practice with urgency, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. Like we're super excited. Last year, you know how that went for us. So excited to get out there.
For Nick, I think you had 8 points in the first 4 minutes of the first half, and then 8 points in the first 4 minutes of the second. As you have more and more games under your belt as a star player, how has your feel for games improved and kind of have the ability to start halves or games like that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just think I don't know necessarily that I've grown in, feel, but I definitely think that I've honestly had a lot more space this year, with guys like, AP, JR, people that are always trying to make plays, and I'm just playing off of them. And, they do a great job getting me the ball, especially early on in, halves, really trying to target me. And, yeah, I just think they've done an amazing job. I think even guys like Jordan and Jello have done a great job. They worked their butts off in the off season. So did these guys. But yeah, they've worked their butts off, and it's paid off. They're making drives and just dumping it off to me for layups. So.
AP, it's been about 6 weeks since the season started. How comfortable do you feel now serving as not just a guy who's finishing plays, but a guy who's starting them, whether that's from the low post or from the top of the key?
I feel pretty comfortable. I'd probably say that comes from just a lot of reps with, Nick and JR and my point guard, setting a lot of ball screens for him. So I think it was just a lot of repetition and just coach, once again, like I said this last time I was up here, coach believes in me, and it's pretty evident. So it just allows me to just go out there and be a basketball player.
Time for a couple more questions. Gavin.
Nick, you've gotten on this team about offensive rebounding this season. It seems like so far you're really leading by example. You ended up having 5 today. Just curious, over the last week, as you guys have done this full reset, in the post and up close on the glass, how have you seen that? Have you seen the other guys pick up some of that intensity and aggression? And I guess how have you seen that kind of matriculate down your leadership throughout?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, but I think a lot of times when you guys ask me, how my actions trickle down, I think you guys are missing how their actions trickle down to me. I think that my teammates, motivate me each and every day, and it's a dogfight out there when I play against these guys, and I have to jump a little bit higher, hit a little bit harder every single day, and the energy and the just – it's just such a great atmosphere to be in, and we have guys that just want to get better every single day. Like, we really have turned a switch, I think, going into this Butler game and going into these last 2 games. So I really think it's how, they motivate me every day, how I can feed off of their energy every day.
Chris.
AP, when you start playing with Nick and you see the way that you both can kind of clear space for each other, what's something you learned about yourself offensively playing with him, and what do you like the most about playing with another guy like him?
He's going to catch the ball. I've thrown him some pretty crazy passes, and he's caught all of them. So I just feel like that connection between 2 of us is going to be important for not just us, but, our team as well. So I just pretty much just our chemistry with, my team as a whole. So.
Wrap us up. Thank you.